What if we looked at a stroke, not as some terrifying medical mystery, but as a logistics problem? Today, we're going to reframe one of the scariest medical emergencies out there into something you can actually manage, a supply chain crisis. Okay, let's jump right in. First things first, let's forget all the complex medical jargon for just a minute. At its absolute core, a stroke is a catastrophic break in a supply line. It's an unexpected, total shutdown of the delivery route that keeps your brain, your body's command center, up and running. And this is exactly why that logistics mindset is so critical. In business, a supply chain failure costs money, but in your body, it costs brain cells. And we are not talking hours or days here. We are talking minutes before the damage is irreversible, before your whole system faces total bankruptcy. So if we're going to manage this crisis, we first have to understand the key players in our body's corporate structure, its supply chain.
First up is the brain. This is the HQ, the C-suite. It's making trillions of decisions every single second. Everything from keeping your heart beating to processing the words I'm saying right now. It is, without a doubt, the single most important asset in your entire enterprise.
So what fuels this headquarters? Oxygen. The easiest way to think about it is like currency. It's the cash flow, delivered by your blood, that funds every single thought, every movement, every function. No currency, no operations. It really is that simple.
And that, of course, brings us to the ultimate consequence. When the headquarters is starved of its currency, that oxygen, for too long, the whole system goes bankrupt. And this isn't just a market downturn, it's a total, irreversible collapse. And that's exactly why restoring that supply chain is so incredibly time-sensitive.
Okay, now that we understand the system, let's get to the most important question of all. Why does this supply chain failure so often lead to absolute disaster? The answer, well, it might actually surprise you. Let's just use a simple 5 whys analysis to peel back the layers here. Okay, a stroke causes disability because cells die. Why? Well, they die without oxygen. So why isn't the blood flow restored? Because the repair team, the doctors, got there too late. And why were they late? Because someone waited. And right there, that brings us to the real root cause. It isn't a medical failure, it's an information failure, a delay in communication. This really puts everything into a new perspective, doesn't it? Every single second you hesitate is a permanent loss. It's a sunk cost. You can't earn that dead brain cells. That moment of waiting, that let's just see what happens thought, is the single most expensive decision you could possibly make. So if the root cause is really just delay, what's causing the delay? Well, a lot of the time, it's a little voice inside our own heads. Let's talk about how to manage this internal saboteur. Let me introduce you to your optimistic denier. It's that part of your brain that's just trying to protect you from fear, from inconvenience. It explains things away. Oh, it's nothing. I'll just sleep it off. But in a supply chain crisis like this one, this internal protector becomes your single greatest enemy. So how do you manage it? You have to reframe the thought process. Instead of thinking, oh, I don't want to be a bother, what if it's a false alarm? You have to strategically reframe it to this. A false alarm costs me a little bit of time. A late alarm costs me my entire life. You have to train yourself to see that calling for help isn't a bother. It is the highest leverage decision you can possibly make in that moment. We can actually take this a step further. We can create a mental shortcut, which you might call a trigger anchor. The goal here is to program your brain so that the second you see a potential symptom, your automatic gut-level response isn't denial, it isn't fear, it's just one powerful word: time. All right, so we've worked on our psychology. Now we need a concrete plan of action. This is your emergency playbook for when that crisis actually hits. And we're going to use the 80-20 rule. Look, you don't have to be a doctor. You just need to know the 20% of the information that gives you 80% of the survival benefit. And luckily, that information has a name. It's called the F.A.S.T check. This is your entire protocol. F is for face. Ask the person to smile. Does one side of their face droop? A is for arm. Ask them to raise both arms. Does one of them drift down? S is for speech. Ask them to repeat a simple phrase. Is their speech all slurred or strange? And T. T is the most important step of all: time. If you see even one of these signs, it is time to call for help, right now. And if you're ever in doubt, just use the inversion principle. Just ask yourself this one question. What would absolutely guarantee the worst possible outcome here? And the answer is always the same. Wait, go to sleep, hope it just goes away on its own. So the path to success is to do the precise opposite of that. Act immediately.
Okay, you've made the call. The repair team is on the way. But your job is not done. Now you have to pivot. You become the data analyst. The emergency team, your expert consultants, right? They need 3 critical data points from you. Number 1, when exactly did the symptoms start? 2, if you found the person, what time was that? And 3, what was the last time that you or anyone saw them acting completely normal? And why is this so critical? Because this quick data audit you're doing, it determines which tools the doctors can even use. The really powerful clot-busting drugs that can restore the supply chain have a super strict time window. Your data is literally the key that unlocks their best treatment options. So that's the playbook. A stroke isn't something that just happens to you. It's a crisis that demands a manager. The question then is simple. When that alarm sounds, are you going to be a passive victim, or are you going to be the crisis manager who steps up and saves the entire enterprise? The choice is yours.